Good evening, everybody. My name is Michelle Halstead. I'm the Vice President for Administration and Finance at SUNY New Paltz, and we're here today to talk about the spring opening of our campus. So I'd like to introduce our panelists for this evening first. So I'm going to start to my left with Dr. Jack Ordway. Jack, please introduce yourself.
I'm Jack Ordway. I'm Director of the Student Health Service.
Karina.
Hello, I'm Karina Karachi, the Director of Residence Life.
Matthew.
Hello, I am Matthew Kreutz, President of the Residence Hall Student Association.
Kevin.
Yeah, I'm Kevin Dicey. I'm the General Manager of Dining Services.
Jenny.
Hi all, I'm Jenny Mockren, Dean of the School of Fine and Performing Arts.
Dante.
Hi everybody, my name is Dante Cantu, Executive Director for Academic Advising and Student Success. I provide leadership for the college's General Advising Unit and Academic Support Services.
Stella.
Hello everyone, I'm Stella Turk. I'm the College Registrar.
Mike.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mike Patterson. I'm the Director in the Center for Student Engagement. That includes campus involvement, orientation, service, and the Student Union facility.
Tevin.
Hey everyone, I'm VP of Finance for Student Association.
And last but not least, our hostess, Stephanie.
Hi, Stephanie Blaisdell. I'm the Vice President for Student Affairs. And we want to encourage you to ask questions this evening. Go ahead and put your questions in the comment section. We will get to as many as we can. If we don't get to your question and there's a lot in that area, we will certainly address them in our FAQ on the website going forward. This session is recorded, so if you have a question and it doesn't get answered, it may be that we answered it before you joined us, so you'll be able to catch up on the recording as well, which will be posted online. So while you are typing questions, we want to just give you a little bit of what we do know about the spring. I can tell you that students will be required to quarantine for 7 days prior to coming to either their campus residence or their local residence. So they also will be required to test either within 3 days of them being on campus for the first time or within 5 days of being on campus for the first time. We will be providing testing on a regular basis starting on January 19th on campus. So students will be able to come, whether you're residential or not, you'll be able to come onto campus for that testing. Monday through Thursday, we'll be doing pool testing through February 4th. And on Fridays, we will have our partner in the lab on campus doing individual appointment testing, and that will be open to everyone. We'll be advertising hours and other specifics as those dates get closer. So that's how we're kicking off the spring semester, and we will provide more details as they become known. But we welcome your questions, and we've got plenty of experts here this evening to take questions of all types. The first question is, will the dining halls have the same protocols? Kevin, you want to take that?
Thanks, Stephanie. Yes, we will be following very similar protocols this spring. We do have modified meal plan and a modified service plan that we'll be addressing shortly.
Another question is plans regarding graduation. Trying to think of who the best person to answer that question is. We are, anybody feel especially qualified? Stella, you got your hands raised first.
I don't know if I'm especially qualified, but I will tell you, first of all, we did make an announcement about putting in an application for your degree. On that announcement, there was a brief mention about plans for graduation, that they have not been solidified yet, that this is an ongoing plan, and we need to see where things are at as the spring unfolds. But as soon as we know what's going to happen for the actual ceremony, we will get that word out as soon as possible. So right now, we don't have enough information to make a decision.
Karina, when can residential students move back into their residence halls?
Right now, we're working on possibility of having, if you're a brand new student to our campus and you are going to need help moving your belongings into the residence halls, we are working on allowing you to come early to have that help. That email and correspondence will be sent directly to you if you are a brand new student to us. If you're a returning student, you can come anytime on, we're opening up on Sunday, January, gotta get the calendar, January 17th for anyone returning to campus.
Thanks, Karina. Can students get tested at home and bring verification at return, or do they need to test upon arrival back on campus? You are welcome to test off campus. We want to offer you the caveat that testing has become more scarce unless you have direct exposure or are symptomatic in the community. If you the next question is who's paying for the test. So if you test off campus, what we've been seeing is insurance is covering those tests. There is actually a mandate for insurance to cover tests. If you test on campus, the campus is paying for those tests. Jack, did you want to add anything more about testing on
Well,
off campus?
the next question is, so we have to test at home prior to coming to campus. If you're going to test at home, you want to make sure that it's within 3 days, because that's a criteria that you have to meet. Or once you arrive on campus, testing will be available, and you're supposed to be tested within 5 days of arriving on campus. And testing will be ongoing for the first couple weeks when students are going to be arriving. So it should be available for you, and I think hopefully it'll be convenient for you. And then what we want you to do is have the results back before you're moving around campus and going to live courses.
Jack, what have you been seeing in terms of turnaround time for off-campus testing?
It varies a lot. I mean, it can go from 1 day to 5 days. That's the usual time. So if somebody were to get tested at home, they may not have their results immediately, upon returning to campus. But if they get those results to Student Health Service, we'll make sure that the campus knows they're available.
And all of this information is found on the Student Health website under COVID information. But Jack, how should students submit their off-campus test results?
The way we like to have you submit them is to submit them to our email, which is healthservice@newpaltz.edu.
So to clarify, I think we've addressed it, but it doesn't hurt to restate. You need to be tested within 3 days of being on campus or within 5 days of arrival. So basically you have an 8-day window, but don't test earlier than 3 days before you personally plan to come on campus. So we'll be looking at card swipe data and that sort of thing. The idea here is that we want you to be tested in close proximity to your arrival on campus. And that should be after your quarantine period. So quarantining for 7 days, getting tested, being on campus. Within 5 days of being on or near campus is going to be probably your quickest, easiest route. So we do encourage you to consider that, but if you want to test on your own, that's fine. One piece that I hadn't mentioned previously that I want to mention is that there are certain facilities and all in-person programming, including attending in-person classes, that you cannot do until we have a negative result. So if you test before you come and you get hung up a little bit and you're supposed to report to work for an on-campus job, we cannot let you do that until we get that negative result. So just keep that in mind as well. You've got plenty of buffer for that in-person instruction. If you plan to come, let's say you're planning to come January 20th to be back in the residence hall, you can test within 5 days of being here and be free and clear to go to your in-person instruction, most of which is happening after February 1. There's a few exceptions to that February 1 in-person courses, but most classes are in person starting February 1, although they will start remotely as scheduled. Another meal plan question, Kevin, will the meal plans change or is it remaining at 2,400?
So the meal plans is staying the same. I'm going to take this opportunity to ask Kevin to talk about the new meal plan that we're going to be rolling out this spring, since the Student Advisory Committee developed the plan. So Kevin, would you like to announce the new meal plan?
Yeah. Before I was gonna present the meal plan, but I think to help keep this moving smoothly, there will be a new meal plan. And as some of the students may know, me and Matt were working on the beginning of the semester. We sent out an email for focus groups on what improvements we could have made on the existing meal plan for the fall 2020 and help bring that into the spring. So we heard a lot of your complaints, but I think we were able to fix most of it. So there's going to be some change in the dining hall hours. Another good thing is that you're no longer focused to just eating at the dining hall. You'll be able to use your swipes at the dining hall at other eateries. So places like, I guess, Palmaderos will be now applicable for that. Matt can also talk about that more. I think he has a stronger rate of exchange table to go off of.
Sure, I could quickly add that. So you will still be given 100 swipes at the dining hall, but that could be used throughout the entire time of the semester. So you don't have to use 7 in 1 week. You could also exchange them at other on-campus eateries in the student union building, such as Pomodoros for 2 slices of pizza or a small pasta, gluten-free, and meatballs. So it allows students to choose which on-campus eateries and where they want to use their dining swipes. You will still have the same amount of declining balance, which is the amount of dining dollars. So it gives you the flexibility to say, if you don't want to eat at Peregrine this day, you could get something else on campus, giving you more options and flexibility with the plan.
Beautifully said, and much credit to Matthew and Tevin for your work on providing some guidance on changing those meal plans. Anything more on meal plans from any of you? What is the protocol regarding living off campus? I assume that this is related to the testing and quarantining question. If that's not the case, please re-question your question. But the protocol is the same regardless of residential status. So we will be looking at when you are on campus. So if you have any kind of in-person presence on campus, the testing remains, the requirement remains the same within 3 days of planning to be on campus or within 5 days of being on campus that first time. One thing that I didn't mention about our startup to the spring semester is that SUNY is requiring us to track symptoms and exposure for 2 weeks prior to the start of the semester. So you will be getting messages about the health screening. The health screening has been changed a bit so that the first question, it will no longer be, are you on campus today? Because we know you're not on campus for those 2 weeks. The questions will be about symptoms and exposure and travel. So travel to non-contiguous states. We're going to ask that you submit that health screening for 2 weeks prior to coming on campus. At the end of those 2 weeks, the first time you say, yes, I'm on campus, you're going to get a couple of new questions. That will be an attestation that you have completed your quarantine, as well as, oh gosh, I can't remember the other question. Jack, do you remember what the other question is?
The other one would be whether you've finished 14 days of your screening, your daily screening. And the other attestation will be that if you have traveled, have you completed the travel form, New York State travel form, and done the testing or quarantine that's required.
Will policies on campus change once the vaccine starts to roll out? Meaning, will the dining hall open? Will classes be offered in person? Will clubs be allowed to meet in person, et cetera? Jack, would you like to sort of take a stab at this?
I mean, I think that what we're going to be, to make those type of changes, there has to be a certain amount of immunity in the community. And I don't think we'll probably get that during the early part of the spring. Hopefully later on in the spring, there'll be vaccinations rolled out for college age students. Those will not be the first priority with this vaccination program. And once a certain percentage of the students have gotten vaccinations, or the community staff and students, I think those types of changes can be made, but it probably is not going to be done. I think we're looking more at the fall of 2021 rather than the spring.
Jenny?
I wanted to add that we are currently building our fall schedule based on a regular seated back to normal plan as of right now, in the hopes that there will be a vaccine that is readily available and that most of our students and staff have been able to access. So that is our plan for fall. Should that happen sooner, that would be great. But as of right now, that's how we're heading into fall.
Thanks. Karina, can someone move in after January 17th?
Yes, they can. You can, there'll be a first day of in-person classes is February 1st. So if you are a returning student, anytime from January 17th until the first day of classes, you can move in.
Jenny, will professors be more easily reachable for the spring semester?
Well, I can't make any promises on that. I mean, I think it's hard with the amount of email that everyone receives. Most faculty teach anywhere from 50 to 200 students a semester. So if you imagine the emails that they get from students and colleagues and the campus, they do receive a lot of emails, and I believe they do their best, but there needs to be a sort of level of patience. We do ask them to be responsive. That is a question that students can provide feedback on, sort of timeliness of feedback in courses, and we hope that faculty are being responsive in a timely fashion.
Jenny, what should a student do if they're having difficulty with a particular faculty member?
If they're having difficulty with a faculty member and they've tried to reach out to the faculty member and either get no response, or still the faculty member and the student haven't reached a sort of consensus on how to resolve an issue, the next step is reaching out to the department chair that the faculty works in. So let's say it's an English composition class, then they're going to reach out to the chair of the English department for help, and they want to explain the situation fully, and then the chair will sort of try and help hear both sides and see if they can help fix the situation. And there's actually a whole process, and so if they're still not happy, then they go to the assistant or associate dean on up. There's a process for it.
And I invite students to check out the new student conduct website, which includes information on complaints, whether that's a complaint against a faculty member or a staff member, a department. If you don't feel like you're getting the responses that you need to get, we've laid out the process for you, and you can submit something online. Karina, are the students still not able to visit their friends in the other residence halls?
So yes, we're going to continue with what we had done in the fall, where we're going to keep students, in their own residence halls, and they can certainly visit with each other outside. We encourage students to bring wonderful heavy coats for the winter or spring semester, including, hats and gloves will be lovely. It's a beautiful area to walk around, and we would still encourage everyone to meet outside, in social distancing guidelines and small groups, and, walk around our beautiful campus, enjoying the beautiful season of winter into spring. So until everything could go back to normal. We're hoping that maybe at the end, we don't know, but right now, when you first come back, we won't allow anyone to go into any other residence hall but their own.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully you're really being cautious about who you let into your own home, and that would apply to our students who are living locally in the New Paltz community. We know that the vast majority, maybe somebody recalls the percentage, but I saw something in excess of 80% of all of the COVID infections are coming from small household gatherings. And so we know you try to keep your bubbles tight, but those bubbles have holes, and that's how the infections are spreading. So just like you're being cautious about who you let into your home, we're trying to help be cautious about who we let into the residence halls to keep those bubbles closed and safe. And we were very successful in the fall. We had the vast majority of our students who ended up having COVID were off-campus students. We had some residential students who were infected, but in fact, the rate, there was no outbreak within the residence halls. The residence halls, someone might get exposed somewhere who was living in the residence halls, and their roommate might get it, but that was it. We didn't have a lot of transference of infections. Whereas what we saw off campus, we saw entire households and neighbors and friends, and there was a lot more of those kinds of contacts getting infected. Back to Kevin and company, are there commuter meal plans?
Yes, those plans have not changed from the previous years, so there'll still be the option for commuters to buy into.
And will Element 93 or Diego's come back next semester?
There's no plan for Element 93 or Diego's in the spring term, and we'll evaluate the campus during the summer as we always do as a team.
Can parents help move in their child if they're a new transfer student, Karina?
Sure. I was saying earlier, I just want to make sure that you understood move-in dates are going to be for returning students, and any student who is coming for the first time who would like to drop off their belongings earlier than move-in day. We are going to have that date set and send that out to all new students, so family members and parents can help with that drop-off process. We will ask that you do not stay and come back, after. What we're trying to do is, and we did this in the fall, it was very successful, where students were able to have family members help them drop off the belongings, and then everyone were to leave and give time for the building to kind of settle down. We have staff that will then clean and sanitize the building when everyone had been gone, and then have it ready for when everyone is actually living in the building starting on January 17th.
Back to Kevin. What happens to the balance of dining dollars that's remaining from the fall semester?
The balance from the fall semester will roll over to the spring term. So when they buy a meal plan for the spring term, you'll immediately see the balance from the previous
For one of our academic folks, Stella, Dante, or Dean Mockran, are professors encouraged to teach synchronous classes? Can this be required?
I can answer this. Most of our classes are being offered synchronously. That's most of the online classes, with far fewer being asynchronous. There's a tremendous effort to help develop our faculties to provide the best possible experience for our students. And we've seen some very great responses from our students and our faculty. So we're encouraged, but yes, most of our remote classes are actually synchronous.
When do online classes begin?
All classes begin January 19th. That's the first official day of classes. So if you have a class that meets that Tuesday, it will meet, but all classes meet remotely. So even if it's a seated class, it will follow its schedule, but meet remotely. Seated classes do not start until February 1st. There will be some exceptions. There'll be some announcements about it, but very, very few exceptions to the meeting of the seated classes in person. So most classes that are seated will begin on February 1st. Will begin in person, but all classes start on the 19th or that week.
Karina, when do current students choose their housing for fall 2021?
Excellent question. We are looking forward to everyone coming back in normal times in the year 2021. In the fall, we are going to start a process starting in March. Whether you are on campus or not, we will send every student out information, letting them know exactly what the process is. It's a pretty lengthy process, but I think we do a tremendous job outlining it all in a lovely, easy follow, a guide that you can follow. And certainly if you have any questions, we're always here to help answer any of those questions. So we will get all of our students by the end of April. They'll know, where they're going to be living for the fall 2021.
So I'm going to just take a little break from questions and ask for a couple of FAQs that folks might have been fielding. So starting with you, Mike Patterson, what kinds of engagement can students look forward to in the spring?
Certainly. So in the spring, we as we did this fall, we developed a collaborative partnership across many different offices to develop safe in-person programming, particularly on Friday and Saturday evenings. We will continue that effort this spring. We've already been meeting to roll out how do we deliver safe and effective in-person options for students. All of our events are typically sign up in advance. We limit the number based on the current state guidelines, and we have a number of protocols in place to make sure that those events continue to be safe. So we're developing those. Obviously, up until February 1st, all activities will be virtual. We won't have any in-person activities until February 1st. We are developing some Welcome Week activities, particularly for our new students, but during that first week, we will offer all students, if they're first year or new students or not, opportunities to engage with student success or the library, or to learn about how to manage Blackboard in an online environment. We'll be doing all of those modules during the first week of classes for everybody that would like to do so. And I know that there's some reading days in the mix, and we're gonna be programming intentionally on those days to make sure students are getting some good rest and a reprieve from academics as we proceed through the semester. So we'll be developing all of those, and we'll be communicating those as it becomes available.
And Mike, what's the best way for students to know what's going on?
So a couple things that I would recommend. We are sending out a message to all students every Monday via email. It's a keeping you posted email. So look for that every Monday morning. You can also view everything on the Engage platform, which is our student involvement platform. And we also have an app called Hawkeye, where if you prefer an app-based function, you can download that on your phone and view all of the events that are going on.
Great, thank you. And Hawkeye, if you go to the App Store, it's Superfan U, Superfan and the letter U, and then look for New Paltz. And our campus has branded that app Hawkeye. And I believe, Mike, if you go to the New Paltz website and then search for Engage, that Engage website pops up.
Right. If you go to the main webpage to Campus Life, you'll see the Engage option there. That also connects you with our almost 200 student organizations as well, where you can reach out to all of the students, student clubs directly. And I forgot to mention the second Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of the semester, we will have virtual club fairs as well.
Great. I'll take Dean Mockren, and then Dante, you'll have a chance to talk about your FAQ next. Dean Mockren.
I just wanted to add on the student engagement side that the Dorsky Museum of Art will be opening all new exhibitions starting February 6th, and they are open Tuesdays through Sunday for any student to enter. All new shows for the spring. That one of the most popular shows that we do every 3 years, the faculty show, will be up. One of our best attended shows. And in addition to that, if for those who aren't comfortable being in the museum, they also have a lot of virtual events that people can engage in, sharing videos, taking tours of the exhibitions, being a part of playing Chopin if you're a pianist, and submitting videos. And then we also have in the School of Fine and Performing Arts, we have live streamed theater performances and music performances, and we are partnering with Student Affairs or Student Association to work on an actual in-person concert as well.
And Dean Mockren, I believe most of those events, as well as other faculty-led events, are also populated in the Hawkeye app. So if you're looking for kind of an overall, what's happening on campus, that catches most of those kinds of activities. Dante, can you talk about what's happening in the world of student success? What kind of questions are you getting?
Thanks, Stephanie. First of all, I gotta say I'm getting hungry. All this dining hall conversation is making my stomach growl. But we're pretty excited. It's been an amazing semester. And like the president said earlier today in his letter, I mean, we really have a lot to be both thankful for and really grateful and proud of. I think our students are amazing, and the community as a whole did a wonderful job this semester. So I think it's really important to underscore, this conversation by saying we're moving into the spring from a position of strength, right? We've learned a lot, making some good adjustments. And we responded in many ways to faculty need, to students' needs. And one thing that my unit has learned, and we talked about it consistently through the semesters, this whole semester really reminded us of the importance of relationships, right? Students to students, students to faculty, students to their advisors, and so forth. And this current environment makes it pretty challenging. So we're really excited about rolling out a new studying app for the spring called Circle In. I think students are really excited about that. And we'll share some of that information in the weeks ahead. But I just want to say that, we have a strong coaching model here at New Paltz. Our students are very talented. They help each other out. There's a lot of extrinsic and intrinsic rewards through the studying app. It's really important also to emphasize it's a National Science Foundation backed. So it's a top tier study app that's coming down the pipe for us and for our students. I think our students can embrace this as a leadership development opportunity to help each other out. I think, the strength of our current academic support services model is that we're focusing on areas where we can make the most impact. So unfortunately, we don't offer tutoring for every single class on campus. With this app, we're able to provide support across the campus. So able to build on what's working and expand and support more students, where students are actually on the forefront of supporting each other. So I'm really excited about that. One thing that, is important to also share is that a lot of, FAQs that come up in our office, in our area is, we made a lot of adjustments, but really we pivot around our strengths. And one of the strengths here at New Paltz is that, and this doesn't happen at every institution, every incoming student, every student has a dedicated professional advisor in the Office of Academic Advising. I think that's been really key this past semester, someone they can go to help them navigate during this time and get the answers they need and to refer them to the appropriate office. So everybody has someone in the Office of Academic Advising who's a general advisor, right? Just basic policy questions, able to decide based on their goals, their situation, whether to consider an SU option, for example, other options. They have dynamite faculty advisors. Who else is best positioned to help students in the major than a faculty advisor? So one of the things that have helped us support our students this semester and into the latter part of the spring is the fact that we have Starfish that connects students to their advisors, students to the faculty. And part of the coaching model is to give students some actionable, timely feedback. I think that's really important. Again, the coaching model is what's really distinguishes us here at New Paltz from other institutions. So we're giving students feedback early and often so they can make the necessary adjustments and or seek the resources they need to be successful. And we know that one size doesn't fit all. Our students are quite diverse. So that's really the importance of bringing the coaching model that we have through Starfish, those relationships, whether it's a professional advisor or a faculty advisor. But we're going to keep going in the spring. We have students connected with their professional advisor. We've got Starfish, and we're really excited about what we're doing with Circle In.
Thanks, Dante. And all your talk about all those great coaching models that you're doing to support student learning made me think about the other kind of coaching, athletics. I wanted to be sure to let folks know that the Athletic and Wellness Center does plan to open, so long as the county allows it. They should be open about January 20th. And you will need that negative test result before you're able to use the facility, but that will give you an outlet if you plan to move back on campus as early as January 17th. I also just want to encourage that if you have a question for a student, we do have Matthew, who is the president of our Residence Hall Student Association, and Tevin, who is a member, an executive board member from our student association here. If you want the students' perspective on something, how they made it through being successful and engaged this past semester, despite all the challenges, maybe throw a question their way. And in the meantime, if numbers keep rising, will classes be all remote?
Do you want me to take this one?
Sure.
So, of course, nobody wants to go back to full remote. So we do rely on the state and the guidance that we receive. If need be, there will be a pivot. I think we've done it before, but now we're ready in case we have to do it. Nobody wants it, but if we're told that we have to, then of course we will have to comply.
And Michelle, if the governor mandates a shutdown, will the students be reimbursed similar to spring of 2020?
Absolutely. The plan would be exactly the same as last year, only since we've done it before, it'll be a little faster, actually probably a lot faster.
A couple of questions about buildings being open for students to be able to hang out in, and how does a student know where they can go just to study or visit with a group of friends safely? Michelle?
Yeah, so all the buildings will be open, but we don't want you to hang out, but so social distancing rules apply everywhere on campus. But one thing that we didn't have at the beginning of last semester was a very beautiful, newly renovated lecture center. So the lecture center lobbies now have furniture, really smart plugins and USB right in the furniture that you can sit there, do your work, especially for their students who are partially remote and partially on campus. It's really important that you have a place to sit. Library will be open by appointment. And other facilities, how you will know is in our FAQs, we will again post the different places where students can go, especially in between classes, because I know that that was a bit of a challenge last semester.
And Mike, do you want to say anything about the Student Union building?
Certainly. So the Student Union is one of the facilities that is open. It's card access. So as long as you're enrolled, you have access to it. We open Monday through Friday at 7:30, and right now we're closing at 10:30. Our weekend hours are slightly modified from that. So you can certainly use those spaces to meet up, and we've set up all of the common areas so that way you can meet and socialize in a social distance environment. There's a handful of rooms in there that students have used pretty heavily for studying, being able to close the door by themselves and study privately. So look for those opportunities throughout campus where you can sort of go in and study. I know that there's also a list that we have posted and available on the FAQ, and I know they're on all of the doors for the Student Union about all of the places on campus that particularly our commuter students can go and study and find little cubbies and places around campus that they can do so safely. So, so we'll continue the hours that we did in the fall for the spring for the Student Union.
Michelle, where can people find that list?
It will be in the FAQs. We'll refresh for spring 2021, along with the options that Mike's laid out, posted them on the doors. And there are also an abundance of computer labs on campus that the students can utilize to do their work in a quiet environment.
And Kevin, will the dining halls be open later at night in the spring?
Yes, we're very happy to make that announcement, and I'm surprised Matthew and Tevin didn't jump on that because that was one of the big questions. The Urban Dining Hall will be open till 10 o'clock at night, 7 nights a week.
The name of the app that we talked about, Hawkeye, if you go to wherever you get your apps, it's going to be listed as Super Fan U, the letter U, Super Fan U. That information is available if you forget or need to remember it later on. If you search Hawkeye on our website, it takes you to a page with information on that. The library is going to be operating the same way in the spring by appointment as it was in the fall. The questions are starting to trickle down. That probably means that we've done our job here tonight. Do folks have other burning pieces of wisdom, advice, thoughts that they want to share before we conclude? Mike?
Really primarily for our students that are joining us for the first time this January. So our new first year and transfer students, once you've paid your pre-enrollment deposit, you're gonna have given the opportunity to start educating about what campus is about virtually through our virtual orientation modules. Those first few modules will prepare you for academic advising. And that'll get you in touch with your academic advisor so that way you can do so. First year students will be advising and registering for classes this Friday, I believe, and Dante and Stella, please correct me if I missed something there. And then transfer students will be signing up to register for their classes. These are new students only, either January 6th, 8th, or 11th are the registration dates in January. Additionally, for those new students and their families, we're going to be hosting some virtual fairs with all of our campus departments on January 7th and 11th. And you'll have opportunities to log in and have the opportunity to talk one-on-one with our departments. If you have any questions regarding any of your questions regarding financial aid or accounting or any of our main student service areas. So that information will be going out soon, so that way you can log in and join those virtual fairs. So I just wanted to make sure students saw that. And if students are having any questions regarding orientation you can email us at orientation@newpaltz.edu.
Stella?
I just would like to add to what Mike has said. To any student who is a continuing student, has not registered yet, now is the time to get with your advisor, get clearance and get registered. We have a registration moratorium that starts on January 4th and will end on January 11th. That means that continuing students can't web register. We do that to allow our transfer students the opportunity to register and get into courses. Once January 12th, students will once again be able to add and drop courses. But now would be a great time to get registered for the spring 21 semester if you have not already done so.
Dante?
Yeah, thanks. And just to add to what's been mentioned about orientation, for the students who are coming in to join the community, I think it's important to underscore the fact that you'll be connected, as Mike says, with a faculty advisor. For many of you who are coming in declared in a major, but I wanted to just emphasize that that's just another way that the college is keeping our students safe going forward, right? By offering a remote orientation experience. What we're finding is that many students who've come through there from the summer, they really appreciate the fact that it's very much self-paced. They can go through and they can watch these modules, these educational advising modules, and learn about GE requirements, the tools and resources available for them at their own pace. In the past, we'd bring them in. It was kind of like a one-size-fits-all. So as we move forward, we're finding ways to improve what we've been doing. So just want to add that.
Karina?
Hi, thank you. First, I want to say, first and foremost, I want to say thank you to all our returning students who are coming back. You all did an amazing job being here on our campus and, embracing everything that we had to offer. I know that it looked a lot different than what you either expected or what you were used to, but we had very few cases on our campus and we're very proud of that. And that's because of all of you. To the new students, you have wonderful shoes to follow. Students here are wonderful, faculty and staff, amazing. We're all here to support you and just know that we will do that every step of the way. We're all in this together. And we just want to thank you for, being here, being part of this community. New Paltz is strong because, of all of you. So thank you for that.
Yeah, certainly the fall semester was not the semester that any of us wanted, but we persevered and heard from many of our students, particularly our residential students, that they felt very supported. And I appreciate the kind note from the parent there in the chat, thanking us for your freshman students' experience. So we're happy to hear that she had a good experience with us. We know that those of you who are taking all online courses in the spring have the opportunity to live off campus. If you are planning to be in the vicinity, I really strongly encourage you to think about coming back and living on campus, even if you're fully remote. As a parent whose college student lives far enough away that I can't get to them during the year, I will tell you that one really distinguishing feature for our on-campus students is that if you have to go into quarantine or isolation, we have complete wraparound services for you. Wellness checks, both for health and mental health, in addition to all of the food and laundry and trash and things that become pretty difficult if your whole off-campus household is quarantined. So please do give that some consideration in addition to the access for all of the on-campus services that are more convenient to our residential students. But we are so happy to see our non-residential students come back as well. So there was a question about whether or not this recording will be available later. Yes, it's going to be on Facebook and YouTube, and I think it's going to be posted again in the digest. So you will be able to find this recording. We did have quite a few repeat questions come up towards the end. So if you had a burning question that you didn't get the answer to, it's probably because we answered it earlier. So thank you all for your attention this evening. Thanks to all of our panelists for their information. And we look forward to having you back as early as January 17th, and we'll be communicating with you in the meantime. So be sure to check those emails and messages from campus. Thanks, and stay safe during the big storm. Good night.
Happy holidays.